I can solve one-step equations. So in the last video, we had talked about these few examples. So if this person wants to buy this football, they would need an extra $5. Okay, and if we had this balance, 10, if we started with 10, we'd have to take away 4 to get 6. And those are easier problems, but we're going to be having some more challenging problems arise in pre-algebra. So we're going to have a lot of integers, and then some of you will have fractions and decimals. All right, so a few things that we need to know. Opposites. Opposites are adjectives or prepositions. And here's a few examples. You can see them in the notes. Okay, but a word that we're going to use a lot this year is inverse. So it's very similar to opposite, except that it's a verb and it undoes what happened. So if we spill something, we're going to clean it up. Okay, we're going to undo this spilling. Okay, here's actually a really true example. I got an Amazon package for my child's birthday, and my child starts to open it up. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want you to see what's inside. So to fix that problem, I closed it back up. I added some more tape. Okay, so I undid what happened. All right, so let's say I need to pay my rent this month, and I accidentally spend too much money. I spent an extra 25 bucks. I'd have to find a way to try to earn that back. Okay, so I have to undo what I did. Okay, at the very bottom here are the most important ones, add and subtract. Those are inverse operations. If I add something, to undo it, I subtract. If I subtract something, to undo it, I add. And same for multiply and divide. And today, we're just going to work on adding and subtracting. All right, so let's start with an easy one. Some number minus 2 is 9. You can probably figure out what the number is. But here's the mathematical way to use the inverse operation. And this will work when we have integers and also when we get to 2-step and 3-step and 4-step problems. It's going to work. Okay, so where I have this equal sign, I have 2 lines. That's kind of like the balance. Some people also like to say it's the railroad tracks. And whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other to keep it balanced. All right, so on the side with a variable here, I see subtraction. I see subtract 2. Okay, let's maybe say I give away 2 things. I'm like, I want them back. I would need to add 2. Okay, so the inverse or the opposite of subtraction is add. I have to do that same thing on both sides. Okay, so I'm going to write plus 2 and plus 2. Over here on the left, if I have negative 2 plus 2, those are opposites, and that is worth 0. And 0 is the same as nothing, so I don't need it anymore. I am left with just x. And I don't know what it is quite yet. And then I hop over here to the right, and I have 9 plus 2, and that would be 11. So that's going to tell me that this number up here is 11. 11 minus 2 is the same as 9. And that is a true statement. All right, let's try this one over here. This time our variable is on the right. And with this variable, I see addition. The inverse of addition is subtraction. So I need to subtract 7 from both sides. All right, so over here on the side with a variable, I have a positive 7 minus 7. And those are opposite numbers. That is worth 0. And 0 is the same as nothing, so I don't really need it. I'm still left with my x. And then over here, 13 minus 7. I'm going to count backwards 7 times. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. My answer is 6. Ooh, this next one has a negative. How exciting. All right, so on the side with my variable, I see addition. The inverse of addition is subtraction, so I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. All right, on the side with a variable, I have a positive 6 and a negative 6, or a plus 6 and a minus 6. Those are opposites. That is worth 0 or nothing, which leaves me with just my x. Oh, but over here I have -4, and then I have -6 or -6. Let's say I lost $4, and then I lost $6 again. That's a really bad day. Altogether, I lost $10. Okay, you could also use that subtraction rule where you could turn this into addition here and then make this a -6. I'll type that out. So I could change that to addition and then make this a negative. And then it's a little bit easier to see that it's a horrible day problem. All right. And for our last one, this time our variable is over here on the left. I see subtraction. So the inverse is addition. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So on the left here, those are opposites. That's worth 0. And then over here, I have -8 plus 5. I can start at -8 on the number line and go to the right 5 times. Or I can imagine a game of tug-of-war where the negative team has 8 players and the positive team has 5. The negative team would win. How many more players are on that team? And either way I solve that problem, my answer would be -3. For your assignment today, you are going to click and drag the inverse operation to show what you would do to both sides, and then place the 0 in a spot where it equals 0 and have the final answer. And again, if you want to double check your final answer, it might be hard for the ones with integers, but if they don't, just go back to the very beginning. So like for this one, 13 equals 6 plus 7, and yes, that's true. So that's a good way to double check your answer.